I'm glad I did it again. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen, and what I'm going to share my screen with first is the original, because there's some kind of cool things that we saw in the original, and I want to make sure that we are looking at that one. Okay, I got to get the right one up here. And I like some things about it that see, it's still not on the right place. All right, I'm gonna stop the share for a minute and see, go back. Oh, that's not what I want. Okay, there I'm back now. Okay, here it is. Okay, so what we are seeing here is from 2017 is when we created this originally. So let's just look here, first of all, at the title, Heal and Embrace Your Inner Masculine and Feminine. And what we had taken it to is, okay, it doesn't say that there. Here, let me see. Empower and embrace your inner masculine and feminine. Now, I would like you to write this down or type this in or whatever. The original one is heal and embrace your inner masculine, feminine. The revised one is empower and embrace your inner masculine and feminine. And the question we need to ask is, are we going to put receptive and active there? I mean, it makes it really long, but it depends on what we think is important. And do we want empower and embrace, or do we want heal and embrace? So I want us to live with that this week. And as we go through this, maybe it'll become clear. And then the subtitle of it is a process of integration. Now, is the word integration something that's clear, or is it something that is not clear enough? So let's start first with, do you like empower, embrace, or do you like heal and embrace? Or do you want to change it to something else? Just to the top of your head for now, because I want you to live with it this week. But Marion,
Okay.
what do you feel?
Okay, I believe we need to heal ourselves and then we need to embrace ourselves. And I also believe that we need to recognize this is a process of reintegration. That's how because what's happened, that's where I come from.
Okay, I'm gonna make a copy of this and then just start doing the okay.
AI.
Yeah, I'm just going to start changing what you're saying as we're doing this. So I'm just going to put M for Marion, and then we can see what we want to do here. So Marion, you would like heal and embrace.
Yeah, I want us to heal up and embrace that. And I would call that a reintegration, not integration. Now, what do you think of that part? The reintegration, and I want to look up reintegration just a minute.
I think it's not understandable enough initially. I think we need to have something that's easy for people to understand.
What would we
Let's see, I want to change this.
To me, reintegration sounds like I already know I have male, female energies, and they're there. They're just, and they were integrated at one time, but now they need reintegrating.
I just looked up reintegrate and, it says to restore. I like that. I haven't looked up integrate yet, but to restore, to restore.
That's a good word.
Yeah, I like it too.
So it could be reintegration or it could be restore.
I don't know yet. I'm just kind of,
He's
Okay.
playing with the
Yeah.
words.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's fine.
reintegrate. It's a unity.
Process of unification.
Or restore to a position as a part fitting easily into a larger whole. How would we put that in there? Because I like that too.
So give me the words and I'll just put this in here until we decide.
Um, in reference to reintegrate, it means restore. We both like that. It's about unity. And it's also, this is the sentence that I was reading. Restore to a position as a part fitting easily into a larger whole. It's not, we can play around with that if we want.
You went too fast because I can't.
Restore to a position as a part fitting easily into a larger whole. There's something in
Restore
that.
to a position.
Yeah, as
Uh,
a part fitting easily,
Don't go anymore.
okay,
Okay.
into a larger whole, WHOLE. That's like that complete, you're completing something.
Process of completion. No.
Well, I like that in that I think I do think that we go when we go way back, there was a kind of wholeness that we lost. I was sharing with Marion that there was a woman that we met up at the other place where we were getting some breakfast, and she is an anthropologist or has been, and she talks about this one Native American, I can't remember the tribe, but that when you go way back with that tribe, they had a very wonderful culture. Yes, it had things that you could do and not do, but every part of that was set up so there would not be fighting with each other, but there would be a sense of everybody's here to help everybody else. And there was a tremendous sense of peace and cooperation and wholeness there. So I'm thinking that we do know this in our DNA some way. We know that there has been a time like that. I know for me, I always feel like we are not being the humans that we were meant to be. There, we came in here to be. You know, I always feel like we came from love, and then we allowed other energies to take us away from that. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that would be why I would say restore works for me.
And also, here's another thing that I like, to make or be made into whole again. That's an important piece right there. So people, maybe they might not think like what you just said, and what, of course, I know for myself. But again, is they'll go, again, what does that mean? It means we've been here before. We've been whole, and now we are what we are now. The other integrate. Well, I lost it. Where did you go? Oh, here's just some words. You don't have to write this down. I'm just gonna run this by you. It's reconstruct, recover, reestablish, refurbish, reinvigorate, rejuvenate, restore, save. So those are just some more words that maybe we can put into the class itself.
So let's think about this. In order for us to use restore, we're gonna have to spend some time on why we're saying that it was already that before. Is that something that's really important in this course? Or is that a whole nother course?
I think it's important in this course. And it could be if we wanted to do another masculine feminine course, it would even be supported even more. That's just getting people started and thinking about the word again. I like that. Again. And we don't have to embellish on any of that. We can just say, what do you think? What do you feel? Do you feel like you're complete? You want to try to be complete as to whatever you see complete?
How do you feel about that, Leslie?
Which part?
Well, whether if we use the restore, that there may be quite a lot of information we have to give people to say why we're saying restore, how, in their life, they have not experienced integration, or they have not experienced that wholeness.
Well, as I understood it when we were creating the course, that this was, if we leave the word re out, a process of integration, it was to bring the two energies out in the open and to integrate them so that they became part of the whole being. And so re to me means again already, and it means we were once there. If we're focusing on that, yeah, a lot more information is going to be needed. Like we were born that way, we came that way, da 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 da, and explaining the whole thing of where we were once that way, but we became not that way, and now we need to redo it so that we're whole once again. I mean, we could just even use, if you want to do that, we could even use like, when we're babies and when we grow up, we're pretty well finding our way, but we're also, as we're maturing, we're taking more information in, and that's when a lot of this stuff gets kind of wacky. So
well, maybe we could,
um,
if there was a way to do it, or maybe it'll just come up, we can say that what we've seen happen is that when babies are born, in general, they are still so connected
mhm,
with where they came from that
yeah,
there's a certain kind of oneness in them.
yeah,
And maybe it's important to put this in here because I think it brings people into why they're feeling so uh, out of sorts, it's because we have taken in all this other energy and kind of fallen into this, what is masculine, what is feminine, and that it isn't a wholeness. It has become a pulling us apart.
fractured kind of, yeah,
Yeah. And that what this course is about is finding that wholeness that we came in with and figuring out how to live that through this active energy and receptive energy.
yeah, it's fine.
So maybe there's a piece that needs to be in here as part of the introduction
Mm-hmm.
that we need to work with. So let's look at this. I'm going to get rid of one of these, and we're just going to be working with this one that I'm making changes on, but I'm going to have us go back and forth so that we will see what this is, because this is the one that is actually what's in there now. And let's see, so we don't need this. And so are you seeing now the one that has the Tao symbol on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So that was the original one that was 2017. And so
Yeah.
let's just see what we have here in the introduction. We are in a time of change. The meaning of being human is moving from separation found in duality.
We're losing you. I
It,
mean, you sound funny.
oh, really?
Yeah, at least I'm getting a buzz and your volume went way down. I don't
Uh,
know.
didn't change anything. So,
Marion, did you hear anything different or is it me?
Oh, no, I did not hear anything different.
Okay, I'm gonna turn up my volume so at least I can hear you. I still hear the buzz, but I'll, yeah, talk and that so I can hear you.
okay, so
Yeah, got it.
it's clear. Okay. All right, so let me go back to this and the introduction. We are in a time of change. The meaning of being human is moving from separation found in duality into a working wholeness found in polarity. Now, I'm not sure that's still true. We talked about this uh, and changed it in the new one, but I don't know if it's something we want to work with or not. Just as you need a plus and minus pole to have electricity work, you need the balance of the masculine and feminine to be an empowered human. When you operate from the duality of masculine and feminine, you are working only on the human level. When you move into the Tao of polarity, you are working with a masculine and feminine nature that is empowered by spirit and embraced by your deepest self. I mean, I like that. It's just, I don't know how clear it is. And let's finish this and then I'll go to the updated version of that and see how we feel. This is the magnificence of power. This is the magnificence of you. This opens up possibilities you can only begin to imagine. This course is an exploration of you. It allows you to look at how your masculine and feminine aspects operate in life and how that influence has affected you. It offers you a way to shift whatever seems out of balance. That way, your experience can be what you truly desire, not what you live by default. I like that part. In the basic color course, we explore how complementary colors create a balance between the human experience and the inner knowing. Now we will be looking at a different kind of balance, that of the active masculine energy in full cooperation with the receptive feminine energy. We will also talk about how that applies to colors. This is an exciting project of discovery and transformation. In order to get every bit of juice from this process, be sure to read the modules each week and do the exercises, the group conference calls, and I would change that to Zoom calls because we were using conferencing at that time. We will take the material deeper and allow you to hear from others taking the course. Buckle your seatbelts. Here we go. Now, let's look at what we actually have now. This is going back to, so this is what we have following the title of it, Clearing Misconceptions. Introduction. Each of us has feminine and masculine energy patterns that are part of us, whether we show up as a man or a woman. These energies are also spoken of as yin and yang. The Tao symbol above shows you how these energies come together to create wholeness. When that happens, you have access to both your masculine and feminine qualities. You know what? Maybe the problem is I have over here, I have a microphone. And I will turn that off so that all you're hearing is the microphone on my computer. Let me see.
So are we going to clear the introduction and module 1 and then go back and look at the new one? Or are we going to do?
I mean, I think we almost have to.
I mean, both at
sit
the
with
same
it,
time.
like print it out at home and sit with it and
Mm.
decide what parts we like and don't like, because it's really hard to do it this way, and I think it's going to take some doing. I don't, uh,
Oh,
I'm not sure.
no,
Okay,
just-
let me see if I can take care of this microphone. Microphone privacy
You
set.
sound fine now, so.
As it's fine. Yeah, because I'm facing toward the microphone. I guess what I could do is just unplug it, but let me see. Microphone. I don't know why. Well, I don't know, access, it won't let me get there. So I guess
Oh, you're fine, just, yeah.
I can actually turn it up, put it over here, which will make it stay more, there we go. Okay, so now let me get out of here and go back to. So are you seeing clearing misperceptions in the
Yeah.
share? Okay,
Yes.
so this one goes a lot into the Tao symbol. And when these are out of balance, we can feel lonely, overwhelmed, off kilter, burned out, incomplete, without a partner, too serious or unfocused. Now we put that in the information that on that landing page that tells about this course. How do you feel about that? Is it important to have that here so that they're reminded about why they're here?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we want to do then is I'm in the copy part. So I'm just going to highlight this because we want to keep some of this in. Okay, so highlighting will mean that's important. And then this one too, this part here.
There was some parts in the first one too that would not be nice if you highlighted, but let's not do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, we can go back.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Out of balance means one is so predominant that it doesn't leave room for the other. For example, masculine traits can become so prominent that they control everything in life, including how much feminine energy is available. This can also happen because the yang qualities have been skewed by beliefs or patterns that are not the true masculine energy. Remember, we are dealing with the energy of masculine and feminine. That is not about us, about you as a male or female. It is not about your father, brother, sister, mother, spouse, or one person, even though your attitudes about these energies may have come from someone you know. In this course, you will clear the confusion about masculine and feminine energies, uncover the clear your misperceptions, heal aspects of you that were wounded by your misperceptions, own and honor your unique masculine and feminine qualities, bring these energies into conversation with each other to create a working whole, the Tao symbol. Realize that these energies undergird your purpose in this lifetime. And then the last part of this is, as transformation, healing takes place, your attitude shift. As with other transformational work, your viewpoint shifts so that you become the observer of your life while being totally present moment to moment. This in turn changes how you experience your life and how others treat you. It's a fascinating process that takes us from the human focus to an overlighting observer focus. This is part of the process of integrating that which has seemed to be separate. Though this experience through this experience, we claim our view of all things as connected and whole. What an exciting time this is. We are transforming and evolving minute to minute along with the earth. We are becoming human in a new way in this, and then maybe we see Mono do new old way, because it really, we were talking about how that has been there and that we're bringing back this integration. So
Yeah,
I'm,
I like that new old way.
okay,
And they'd ask what that means, and we get to explain it.
yeah.
From our own perspective.
Okay, so in this new mode, we manifest what our heart desires, and clearing up some misconceptions. Let's see, what did we have? Okay. We already said this in this course, you will. Now we're down here clearing up some misconceptions.
The first one there, male and female in this course refer to how a person shows up biologically.
Yeah. And masculine and feminine refer to energies that have certain traits. The traits of masculine and feminine can be referred to as yang, masculine, yin, feminine. The left side of the body is yin, feminine, and the right side of the body is yang, masculine. Biology has taught that these energies switch sides in the brain. So the left side of the brain is masculine, the right side of the brain feminine. This is changing now. This part I don't know is true because I had gotten it at the time. This is changing. Intuitively now find that the whole left side represents feminine traits and the whole right side represents masculine traits. I
Yes,
kind of think I should
we
leave
should
that
check
out.
it out.
Yeah.
Because
Because I think
Yeah.
it's gonna change, but it hasn't changed yet.
well, and what about yeah. I was thinking about the first sentence about masculine and feminine traits when you're born. Like,
Well, that's the problem too, because of what
Yeah.
your article said, that
yeah,
just because you show up in a certain way doesn't mean that you have
that internal sense.
internally isn't necessarily in alignment in your
Mhm.
cells. I'm not sure how much we want to bring in about that, but I'm trying to find here how I can.
You might even have someone asking, why do you believe that the left side is the feminine and the right side is the masculine? So you might get that happen. That might happen too. And what would you say? Where
Well, it's
would we go
connected to
with
the
that?
brain.
Just a second.
Well, again, where would we, they might even say, why do you believe that?
Well, I'd like to go and look at the current words about that, information about that science has come up with, is where are those traits in our brain? Because that's what determines the hormonal thing. And are there actually, like, only the right does that, or are there places in the left part of the brain that does that too? And I think it's more complex than it used to be, what
Very
we're
much.
finding out. But I will be happy to look that up and
Yeah, I think that if you could do a little bit of that, and then Marion, would you go to this link? I hope it's still there, and see if that's still something that we need to actually pay attention to or not. And
Well, even
I'll be sending you this thing that we're working on, so you'll have that.
if we have something like what you just highlighted, I think everything we need to end with is literally subject to change, because there's so many changes going on, and it's not even carved in stone that the left and the right is masculine, feminine. It's not even carved in stone that any of this, because we're just rediscovering all kinds of new
Well, and we might want to add on what you've
Mm.
discovered is that the feminine is in the back side of the body and the masculine's in the front side. I mean,
Well,
that's,
and that's my discovery, but somebody else in the class might say, wait a minute, this is what I know. So anything we say or do, in my opinion, we have to sort of leave it open-ended for the people to come in and go, wait a second. This is what I know for me. And then that could be a very, very healthy and healing way of allowing everybody to bring in what they know. And we don't have to agree or disagree. It's just always going to be open-ended. It's always going to be a process.
There's also that concept of quote the words masculine and feminine and active and receptive. That's when the active and receptive comes in. If you, I'm just going to use this example, but the followers of our current leader that are really into it are a lot of them have that. I mean, when you think of this, like they call it toxic
yeah,
masculinity.
toxic, yeah.
And where they're, you have to be a certain like type, you have to act a certain way to show your masculinity and dominance. And that becomes very one-sided, and you're not open. Your active side is pretty much shut down. You don't want to hear anything, you don't want to see anything that isn't supporting that. So that's one example of how that can become way off. But when you look at the real world that isn't into this kind of thing right now, most men tend to have a nurturing side, a giving side, a side that wants to protect and to help and to be of service. And that's a big, it's like, what? That's a feminine trait. We say, oh, that guy's so feminine because he does that. No, that's just part of being a well-balanced human being,
But
well-balanced
also,
man.
it is that the active energy can be supportive in its own way. You know, I
Mhm.
think feminine energy tends to be supportive in terms of listening and connecting heart to heart or to inner world. But the masculine energy is supportive in helping the individual take this sense of support, but with the feminine. I think that that's a lot what the problem is that the toxic masculine seems to be totally not in integration with the feminine, not coming from that inner place inside, but coming from what you said, Leslie, is things that this group has taken on as the truth of what a man is.
Oh yeah, and they reject women as being part of their tribe. It's almost like they're not human anymore. They're subhuman because they're not as strong, as forceful, as dominant as a man. So there's a dominance in the relationship where one gets to say how it's going to be and the other one better comply, kind of
Yeah.
thing. So that's all out of whack.
I still, from the get-go, and that's from a long time ago to even right this moment, it's to reintegrate. I don't want to call it active or receptive. And I've never, ever liked that. And that's okay. But if you can say, if you still want to keep the active and receptive because your definition of it is how you believe, I would definitely in the course say out loud, if anyone else has, I wouldn't keep, okay, I wouldn't have that as concrete because it feels concrete. That's not concrete to me. It just isn't. And that's my stuff. But there's going to be other people that are going to say active and receptive. I think both men and women are that, blah, 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 blah. So I never have liked those two words. to describe the male and the female. And I'm going to sit with that more and find out from where I am now why that is to me not true. But that's me, okay? I'm just giving you this, Arlene, because it's how I feel. And I think there's other people that are going to kind of shake their head and go, I don't know.
So what do you think male female means?
Well, that's what I want to do where I am at now. And especially after last night, because I learned even deeper what male female is. I need time to be able to answer that, Leslie, because I've processed some things that happened in the portal, and I need to be with it. And then I'll probably be able to answer that next week. I can't do it right now. It hasn't landed yet.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
the other thing is that I see it at this moment as inner and outer. But again, that any of this, and maybe this is part of what we need to say, any of these are incomplete definitions, because what we're moving toward is the Tao, which is the wholeness.
whole.
That's the real truth.
All of
But
it.
it's like you can't get to the wholeness until you recognize how this has been divided and has been invaded with understandings that are put into male female and put people at odds. I think we really have to deal with how the information that has come as we were growing up, and that's different information. My information is different from anybody else's information, but there is a collective that has been saying this is male and this is female, and then we take it to say, well, this is masculine, this is feminine. And what we're trying to do is redefine that and say these energies that are masculine and feminine have certain traits to them. And when they use these traits that are available all by itself, then that the masculine takes over or the feminine takes over. And that what we are looking for is how to have both of these traits available as needed.
Well, I get that. Oh, and I just want to say one thing. You can use the active and receptive. That's a way to clarify. I just want you to go, and by the way, and then just know that they might come up with even better words than that to explain that part of it. To me, it doesn't matter. I'm just hoping that it's not somebody that's going to go, really? That's really what it is. And then they just stay totally focused on one or the other, and they don't know, well, I don't act that way. Well, I do it, and it's going to cause them to question themselves. But I know I'm going to, in the meantime, find another word for it. And that's okay to do that as well, because there'll be people that will resonate to that and people that will resonate to what you're saying.
So as we're talking, I'm thinking that today's kids, I say that generally, but the younger ones, have been trying to come up with a definition of whatever. I'm a they, I'm a she, he, I'm a he, her, I'm a, and they're trying to get that across, but even they have struggled with it because they don't know what to call it. And it's really trying to find that wholeness, that whole beingness that has been before this very, very defined, very pocketed. And they're saying, no, it's not that. There is a wholeness there. And to say, well, I'm a this or I'm a that is really hard because there's no there's no definition, nor maybe should there be. Maybe we just say we're human and divine. We are that. We're all of it. And how do you come up with a term that says we encompass all these traits, and how they show up is simply our own particular mixture and flavor of the day, so to speak. It's like that's our particular uniqueness. And how do we define that? So just I'm feeling that with this is we've struggled with this before, and gosh, that's the struggle we're going through with humanity today. I mean, I coming from the fair, we've been together now so many of us that we are a tribe, and we get together and we drum, and there were some young guys out there and they were dancing and up and jumping up and down, and when we were drumming, and there were people woo 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 woo, and all this kind of stuff, and it was the most fun, wonderful, uplifting energy, and people smiling and laughing and hooting and calling in the good energies and the beautiful, energies that we bring, all of us. And it was this big conglomeration of joy. And when we go off to our booths, we're like, that was great, and we're ready to go. And that's that celebration. It is tribal, when we get together, but it brings all those facets of our uniqueness together, from the young guys jumping up and down, and the rest of us going, God, I wish I could still do that. you know, and and to different expressions. Some were fairies, some were, most of them were, a lot of them were in tie-dye, and just a unique blend of people. Sweet, just very sweet. And that's what I'm thinking, that those kids are, and all of us are trying to redefine this, because how do we define that energy within us? And I think the thing of it is, we're working with energies that have been separated, all right, that need to come back together to create that whole. So the Tao is kind of a great thing because it encompasses it all. So how do we bring this into that saying that all these traits that we're trying to define really appear in life in a unique form in each person? Does that make sense?
I like that last part. Yeah, I love what you said, Leslie. Thank you for that. Um.
Well, what we're doing here is not easy, because
Mhm.
we're trying to take terms and processes, and humanity is in the middle of it.
Yeah.
But what I feel like is the power of this is
Active.
what we've been working with is to realize that there was a harmony to humanity at one time.
Mhm.
We have been taken down a path that has separated us and has said this is the only truth. And we are saying that is not what we understand, that this becomes a process for us to look at what we've gone through individually and what messages have we received, what things do we understand in a certain way that somebody else is going to understand in their own way, that's based on what we've experienced and the messages we've taken on. So the question is, through this course, how do we want to redefine ourselves, or how do we want to see society in a different way than we have been before? How do we get clear enough inside of us to say, I choose this or I choose that, and not be contaminated by what things have been told to us, this is the truth.
Exactly.
So in
Now,
order to do that, what we're doing is taking people through a process of saying, okay, in this course, what we're going to do is to figure out how we've been programmed. and what part of that is true for us and what part of that is not true for us. And in the time that we're in now, how do we get back to harmony? How do we understand our own masculine and feminine energies so that we begin to value what it is that we have inside and what it is that we do in the outside world? How do we put that together? And maybe what we have people in this course do is to actually write out at some point, what is my understanding of myself? I mean, really, that's what we're doing when we go and work on the masculine energy and the feminine energy, is they're finding out how they've been programmed. And then they find out, well, what is the truth? What do I know inside of me is the truth of me? And am I living that out in the outside world? And then there becomes, I would say, toward the end of it, writing a paragraph for yourself that says, these are my qualities that I call feminine, and I love them because of whatever, and then this is what I see as my masculine attributes, and I love them too. And I am bringing this into the Tao so that I have access to my feminine qualities and my masculine qualities according to what I need in the moment.
Now, as you were talking, and I'm the one that said that forever I've not liked the separation, I get it, the separation, the active receptive. But what came in and what I like is that, and I don't think this would confuse people. I think it would even open them up, even expand them to look at this. But when you say active/receptive for male, active/receptive, and then for female, receptive/active, it's giving them, they're separating the two, but they're not separating the two in a way that's I think it would be more helpful to have that, and I need feedback from this one. There's something about keeping something whole, and it's not necessarily, in my opinion, the Tao being the best example anymore, but that's where I'm at. And I know you're going to keep the Tao, and that's fine. But to reintegrate, for them to go separate over here and separate over here, I want them to know that they can look right at that and see for themselves, as soon as they look at what a male is, how that is then, how they can take that list of what males are, and then look back and realize that they are both already this. And this is I think a way to not keep separating things. And then they still will separate it, but we're not separating it. And I think they would reintegrate in a way that's more personal, instead of by the book or, by whatever they think they're supposed to do, because people still think they're supposed to do it a certain way or do what they're told. And I want them to feel more at ease, being able to make this very personal from the get-go, and recognize that if they don't like a certain word or this, that, and the other, that it takes them off someplace, that they can come in and feel very comfortable about expressing that. They could teach us as much as we could teach them in ways. So what do you think? Is that?
To me, Marion, what you're talking about is very advanced, and that we're taking people that may be just beginning to understand that there's been programming. And you remember how much time it took us. Now, I know people will go faster now than we did, but how much time it took to really recognize. And that's the thing I've seen from this course for people that's been one of the most life-changing, is they begin to realize that they've taken on assumptions of who's a man and who's a woman, or what's masculine, what's feminine. They've taken on this kind of thing. And to begin to realize that is a major, major shift. And I don't think you can go into this idea of masculine being more both receptive and active. I mean, I personally am just starting to work with that. I think that that's very advanced.
I don't think it's advanced at all. I wish that would have been done whenever we first started doing this work. Because for me, it never made any sense to separate them the way they did, but that's me, okay? And I look at it now, and I believe that that they would, well, I can only speak for myself. It was more confusing to me to see it that way. But then I think you're going to find people nowadays, especially if we have young people in the group, they are already experiencing their masculine and feminine energies. And they might not have a clear, they might not, well, I'm experiencing my masculine and feminine energies. They won't look at it like that. But if they see what you're doing here in the body of work that you've done, they can recognize it in a way that they can honor themselves, I think, even deeper. And but I don't think that's advanced, because I had a problem a long time ago with how it was presented.
Well, then I think one of the things we need to consider as we're doing this
Who's the
is
audience?
what, Leslie?
Who's the audience?
Yeah, plus just,
And the times.
when we go into breakout groups, we could have 3 breakout groups. We could have one that says, if this has been confusing to you and there is a different way that you're looking at it, choose group 1, and Marion's going to be there to be the one who is leading that group. And if it feels like it's important for you to understand these 2 energies separately before you can feel them together, come to Arlene's group. And if neither one of these apply to you, come to Leslie's group.
That's funny.
But
Leslie will neutralize it all because she can.
because I think that acknowledges that we come at this in different ways, and
Yeah.
they're all valid, but
Yeah.
we need to be with other people who see it kind of like we do for right now while we're learning about it, and then begin to be opening up to, oh, that's why they needed to do that. For
Okay,
me, this
so-
is the way that I like to look at it.
So I'm thinking of who's going to take this course, okay?
Yeah,
It's going to
yeah.
be people that are probably 50 or older. And we've been through, those are our children, if we have children. And they have been in between the generations. The younger ones than that are already going, I don't need this course. I know
Yeah.
exactly what's
Yeah.
going on. And I'm working on it in myself. Those that are even open to that. This young woman, pregnant woman I worked with yesterday was dyslexic and not autistic. Was it autistic? No, ADHD and something else. And she had a hard time focusing, but she listened real well. So, I mean, her eyes couldn't focus, but her head, her ears and listening were real sharp, and she was responding in that way, which was really cool. My niece does the same thing. So I was like, I got you. I know how to talk to you. And she came away saying, Mom, I felt so comfortable with her. She really got me. She really understood what was going on. And she goes, wow, I've never had that with anybody else, and so it was a big thing
And
for
how
her.
old was she, Leslie?
Oh, maybe 20,
Oh, okay.
maybe 19, maybe
Yeah.
18. No, probably 19 or 20, 21. but, and she was on her third baby by then.
Oh, my.
So, yeah, and had come into this life, and she's very, very intuitive and all that. And she was just like, I could tell her what, like, I don't know about you, I don't know about you. And then just her body relaxed, was like, okay, okay, I think I can trust you. Yeah. And then she just really opened up, and it was beauty to behold. But she isn't confused about her masculine and feminine traits, right? But right now she's going, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got pregnant again. And oh, 3 kids. And how are we going to do this? And I, worried about it. And she says, I'm a worrywart. And I said, honey, you got to let that stuff go, because especially, and I said, I know it's real easy for me to say. I said, but you do the best you can. And every day, it's like you do the best you can, and you need a lot of self-love right here. And her mom and her and I talked and stuff, and that was what, not during my session, but when I was just talking to her.
And I would say, go get your tubes your tubes tied
Well,
or
yeah,
something.
she evidently has trouble with, she took the pill and stuff and took other stuff, and she said, I I don't know how I ended up pregnant because I had protection, but here I am pregnant. Why is this going on? You know? So,
Because that kid wanted to be with her in this lifetime and they
yeah,
had an agreement.
absolutely. It was like, I'm sorry, mom, you're going to get pregnant anyway because I need to be there. So, anyway, between her mom and her, they're going to be doing fine. And her husband, it's looked like two teenagers with these kids. And I'm thinking, oh Lord, oh God, what you've got ahead of you. But, we're born into what we can manage and what we can take and what we can bring forth. And she has so much potential. Oh my gosh. To be this wonderful mother, but to balance it with care with herself. She really just that's her prime thing right now, take care of me too, and find ways to do that.
Yeah.
So, but she isn't asking, feminine, masculine traits. She's just worried about how to get through. And she has both. She says, yeah, sometimes I get barky, but then, da da da. I thought, well, we could say, oh, that's masculine, getting, this way or that way. And I thought, we're full of all those traits, every one of them. I mean,
Yeah,
huh?
go ahead, go ahead. I'm agreeing. I said it out
Yeah,
loud. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So we, we're, unless, oh, the thing is, I know for myself, when I'm stuck on one side or another, like my active sometimes will hesitate. And it's like, I don't want to do that right now, or I can't do that right now. And some of it is truly because my physicality can't manage it. But a lot of the times I am pushing through that and I'm doing it anyway. And I'm doing what I have to do. And but sometimes I just like we have today and tomorrow to finish the taxes. So we're going to push through that. My masculine will be on top of it. But as far as my active energy, for me, I have to take action. I can't just sit there and, la into my heart and how I feel about my heart and taxes, because right now I don't want to pay my taxes to what's going on. So, but it's like, how do we use our energies to balance, so that we're feeling whole, feeling,
Complete.
like we're not falling apart, like we're together.
Leslie, one of the things I'm thinking too is that as your masculine needs to come forward and really be present in doing the taxes, remember that your feminine is there supporting your masculine and saying, well,
Oh
let's
yeah.
kind of feel into this too to make sure that we, we've done everything we need to do, because I think the feminine,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think that's part of what we're offering people in this course,
Mm-hmm.
is that you don't have to go totally into that masculine energy and burn yourself out,
Yeah.
but you have to have the masculine energy operating in that physical world, because that's one of the things that you have to do right now.
Ew. Yeah.
But being supported by the feminine that says, you
Sounds
can
nice.
do this, I'm with you, this kind of thing, makes
Yeah.
it so much easier.
Mhm.
And using that intuition in the process makes it easier too.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, there's some way that we are meant in this course to make this so clear to the people that are in that 50s and above. And
Mhm.
I probably am more connected to those that are older, just because that's the group that was so programmed in a certain way. And we still work on that. So I don't know, it's just going to be interesting to see where this goes. So let me go back to one more thing. Marion, did you have something you want to say before we move on?
Well, after listening to Leslie, even more so, I realized that when I look at the list of masculine, it's called yang, and
Yeah.
I'm looking at this in a way that is um, well, it doesn't compute for me. And I guess I'm going to have to really have something
So
that does.
why don't you make up your own
I
list?
know. I know. That's what
Yeah.
I'm just realizing looking at this. I see the masculine energy being active, and at the same time, he has to be receptive if he wants to get the work done. And I
But
the
work.
the separate it's just even more so. I'm seeing that this is not a list that is accurate for some reason. Might change my whole entire mind on the whole thing until I figure this out for myself. But yes, I will do that.
And I think that, again, we're still in, at least a lot of people are still in that place where the brain goes to, this is what men do and this is what women do. And I mean, that is the piece that has to shift in order to be open to understanding the masculine and feminine energy, even though we know that they work together and that's what we're moving toward. It's kind of like there are barriers there until we realize how much we've been programmed. And that was something you taught me too, Marion. I mean, I knew it, but also went deeper with it, was how much we've been programmed.
Well,
And
I think that's
Mhm.
what I'm having a problem with is I think this list is a kind of a programmed kind of list. I think that that's why I had a problem with it a long time ago, but especially when it's called what it's called, that there's something programmy about this. So I've got to, I don't know, it's just it feels, and maybe we need to express that. Well, this is kind of how we've been programmed. Maybe that needs to be put in there.
well, this part here is more about the brain and how the brain works.
And the brain has been programmed by the instances. But what I'm saying is, so this doesn't look like it's carved in stone, that maybe there needs to be a sentence saying, and this is part of our programming as well, blah, 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 blah. Maybe recognize it as what it is, and this is what we have right now to work with.
I think the conversation about what is masculine, feminine needs to be thought about some more and worked with, like you're saying, look at this stuff and oh, you took it away. It's gone
Oh,
now.
well, I was gonna
Um,
write up what you're saying.
oh, um,
So let me just take this and put it over with the other thing that we're working on. And then, okay. Now, what I'm going to do is put this in here so that we can remind us that this is one of the things we're going to look at. So say again what you were saying about that, Leslie.
Well, I'm still trying to formulate it. It's kind of about the programming and stuff. I went to thinking about yeah, yang and yin, and how I mean, I can't experience a male without a person who defines them as that at this point, as just that, but those traits tend to come out more in that person than the feminine traits come out, if we're talking masculine, feminine. And things like, um, like height, build, um, um, sexual traits that are clearly on the masculine side, and yet the inner side is still there and still active. It's like they're in a male body, but they have all the traits. And then you look at who defines themselves as female, they have this female body, but they also have all the traits in there. And it's just about balancing them. So, because the physical traits come up too. I mean, whether we're saying, well, we're all each, there is a physical component to it.
Well, and I find that with Peter and me because he has really developed his muscles in a way that I haven't.
Mhm.
And it's easier for him because of what he has in terms of testosterone or whatever it is that builds that easily. But
Yeah.
it's not to say that women can't be strong like that.
Right.
Basically, I'm choosing not to because it's not, I don't know, it's not, it doesn't, it's not important to me, I guess.
Not a priority. Yeah.
No. And I know that I can do some things, but I would probably go to, like, if I'm opening a jar, instead of just doing it on my own, I would go to my little thing that I have that helps you open the jar.
Right. Yeah, me too. Me
So
too.
I think that it's, I think it's putting all this together in some way and then looking at it and saying, maybe what does this have to do with also with choice? Because I just think that there is a part that choice plays in this.
Mm-hmm.
What do you
Um,
mean by that?
Just like I was saying about, I could build muscles. I don't choose to do that. That isn't important to me. But for what's important to me is understanding my inner self and living from there in the outer world in a way that's true to me. Now, it doesn't mean that Peter doesn't live from the inner world into the outer world, but it's important to him because of probably his programming, is that he be really strong and have muscles. And he always comments on guys that have these big muscles and says, well, I used to have that. I'm like, get over it. But I don't say anything because that's him. That's what he's chosen, and that what is still important to him because it still says something to him about who he is.
well, it keeps his body healthy
Yeah,
and strong and
yeah,
able to survive, really.
yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it is. I think there is a small element of choice. I had the people next to me on one side were a lesbian couple, and this one of them, that was her daughter that I spoke to. But one of them looked like any female you would, kind of assume was a female. And the other one was kind of butchy looking, but both of them had equally sweet and loving. One just kind of came across more of the masculine trait,
Yeah.
physically. She was built kind of more physically in that way than the other one. The other one was more round and she was more straight. And and they were both just the coolest people. I mean, just really great. And I just thought you guys have between your partnership, you've really brought the energies together so that both of you get to express who you truly are and be yet have all the realm of the um, uh, uh, traits that we're looking at, all of them.
I'm hoping that we will attract some folks that are like that, because I think that there's been such a misunderstanding for people who are gay or trans or whatever, that it's so important to realize, just like you and I, that we have both of those within us, and that we can develop those traits that we want to develop, and we can recognize that we can call on those different parts of ourselves when we need that.
I need to do this because just to get it off my chest, and maybe I can move on with this, but last night at the Bortle, Arlene presented the collage that Lynn had created, and she called it, I think Lynn called it, Hum of the Earth. And Arlene wanted us all to look at it for a little bit and then talk about it afterwards. And for me, and then she'd bring it really close so you could see it really close and bring it back. And then, we just got to really take a really strong look at this collage that Lynn did. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it, and at first nothing really jumped out at me. And I'm just thinking, okay, well, I guess you won't have much to say. And then I think it's when Arlene started bringing it back, I looked at it and I looked, and then all of a sudden I saw these two earrings sitting at the bottom of this collage. Have you seen it yet, Leslie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I never saw that before. And then I kind of looked at the earrings and I stared at them, and then I looked at the collage, and everything just kind of went kaleidoscope. It just went pow, just like that in my face. And I was like, what's going on here? And so Arlene went to everyone and asked them what they experienced, this, that, and the other. And immediately what came to me was the experience that I had was that these two earrings were like a shape of a sperm, two sperms sitting there, okay? And then I could see that this was like a nest. It was like a bed, and I called it the uterus. Now, Will called it the womb. And I woke up this morning going, I'm going to play around with that because it could be the womb or the uterus, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I kind of like the word womb better. And then what happened for me was knowing that all life sprang from that, the hum of the earth, all life here on earth. And that was huge for me. I mean, not that I didn't already know that, but then looking at it, being with people, recognizing the importance of that, it just exploded within me. And then that was that. But where I'm going with that about what has happened today is that's probably why this is interfering in ways in what we're trying to get done here. It's because I'm seeing this entire experience as already whole, and it is already whole. And I guess where I want to go with people that are going to take the course is know that you're already whole. We just get to discover things. And when you approach it from you're already whole, even if you're not already whole, okay, then that is the they're already there. They just get to discover how they got there. And it's and they could, if they choose, to do that through Arlene's course. I just want it to have what's the word I want? I don't want people to get stuck in words. And there's so many words out here that people can get stuck in. I've been stuck and I know what that feels like. I just want people to be able to relax and maybe even put their own words in that feels better to them. I just want us to be sort of a outline of this is where we can go and this is what you can do in this course. Okay, I'm done. That's it.
Well, basically, you were saying what Arlene was saying before about when we're babies and we come in, you know, and how we are already whole. We have everything inside us that we need. And then we begin to experience things and learn things. And then along comes the programming. And those are the things that have separated us from our wholeness.
And I
so
think
we're
some of the
coming
words,
back to that.
I think some of those words do that. I think that's why it took me longer to understand this. And I don't want that to happen to people. In other words, words are real important. And boy, I think that's why I always say subject to change as I learn more, because it's just
Well, isn't that the part of the process we'll be going through with them? Is them finding their own words and them finding their own,
I hope they do. Yeah.
yeah, and say that, you know, this isn't kind of outline or whatever, this is what we have, and let's discuss it. What is
I
it to
think
you?
Arlene's really good about saying, this is what I know. Well, I don't know how Arlene says it, but she's pretty good about, this is what we know right now. She doesn't say it like that either. Sorry, Arlene, I can't remember how you say that when you're.
Well, I just say, you know, that each of us have had different experiences and we've come from different understandings. And now we get to look at it and say, is that true for me or not?
Yeah,
And that what we're doing is reestablishing the truth from what we know inside instead of creating the truth for us from what we've been programmed.
that sounds good. As long as all of us keep saying that all along, because I want people to really explore this from a personal place. It'd be awesome.
All right, well, I think, let's see if we have this in here. So there's different ways here that we can look at this. I'm going to kind of put it together so you can use what you want out of this and see how we want to put the whole thing together. I'm going to bring this over so it's part of what we're doing here. So this one is about clearing misperceptions and what we'll do in this course. And then this one comes from the other one. And let's see if we can do this as yellow. No, won't let me, so I'll have to do it. Let's see. So this, I think today we just want to focus on the introduction. I think we've done some really good stuff about understanding more clearly how we've changed about this. Maybe there are things that need to be changed. And that was the whole point of this, is taking it and making sure that what we're saying is clear to people and takes them on their own journey and allows us to really look at where we are and what is true for each of us. So
Boy, started,
what, go
That
ahead.
section right there is just like, yeah, that's good.
that's real
In this
good.
course, you will, yes.
So this has been recorded and hopefully the AI is also going to be there for us to work from. So I will make sure that you get both of those. And then I'm going to send you this that I've kind of put things together. And what we want to do between now and next Monday is see if we can get the introduction to the place where it feels like it's really going to be helpful to people to understand what this course is about and what this will be for them, how it will help them in their own lives. And we'll have out of it, we'll have different ways we've said it. But then when we look at how we've said it, then we can say let's put this and this together because they're both different ways, or I think we'll just have to look at it.
Can
see
come
how
to
it goes.
consensus on it,
What's
yeah,
that?
a consensus.
Yeah.
yeah.
So what would be helpful to me is if you would send your interpretation of what you would like to see it be, send it to me ahead of time so that I can put the three together in one place and we can work on it that way, because it's too hard to go from one to the other. And then I'll just say Marion and then Leslie and Arlene, and then we'll see what parts we like and how we want to put it together. Does that seem right, or do you have another idea about it?
When you put that, know that you are already whole. That is, who said, did I say that or did you say that?
You
That
said
is,
it. You
okay,
said it. I was
that
typing what you were
is,
saying.
that changes the whole energy. Does anybody feel that? I mean, it's like, okay, so just my
So
stuff.
be sure and include that, Marion, in what you write for the introduction.
That this,
You're going to get a copy of this, and then you're also going to get a copy of what AI does with what we've said, and you're going to get the recording. Do you want the audio or do you want the video of this?
video? I don't,
You can play back what we've just done on video,
Yeah,
on Zoom. It'll be like watching it again,
yeah.
it doesn't matter to me.
or you can get the audio.
Whatever you want to send.
Well, I'll send out both to you and you can decide what you want to use. Well, I think that we've had a really great discussion and that we're making progress, even though my head still feels muddled. I have to sit down with it and then I'll have a better idea of what really makes sense to me.
Well, now we know what the kids are going through. Like, well, why do you say we're this? I'm not gonna do. Blah, 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 blah.
And if you ask a they what a they is, I'm not sure that they even can give you an answer to that.
Oh,
I guess.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it might be a more lengthy
Yeah,
thing.
and I think
But
they've shed more of the programming. I think
yeah,
that their age group has shed a lot of this programming that does not apply.
out of
I don't
sheer
know.
need,
Peter's granddaughter,
from sheer need.
she doesn't even have the ability to share it. I mean, she has taken on programming as to how to say hello and, just some basic stuff about how to talk with other people, but none of it feels like it's coming from the center of her.
Right, and it's to fit in, you
Yeah,
know.
Yeah. She'll
So
come from the center of her when she's with the people that she trusts
that's
beyond.
true. And
Yeah.
it'll be that others that understand that people can be a they.
yeah,
So
Yeah, she's just doing what
it's hard to be a parent with that at this time. I mean, it's so.
My friend Sally is a parent to a they, or he, she, or I don't know. I think it's a they now. And her name is Kat. And she said, if she doesn't say my child Kat, she can say that, or she'll go, they were this. And at first she was going, no, they. And she had to really work through that. Now I think
It's
she's
like your
pretty much,
brain goes weird when that happens
oh,
because
it's change. It's like,
yeah.
what?
Brain needs to go weird.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah. We're in the change
That's why
season.
we're doing this course, is to help people move past that and expand the
Evolvement.
awareness. Yeah, and also to recognize our programming, and not to sell it in any way, and recognize it as we're going along, because we all
I
have.
don't have a problem with that, but I have a problem with the words. We have to find different words because saying they makes my brain go, because I can't, they is a multiple. Well, yes, maybe it's a multiple inside of them, but I mean, and I'm an English teacher, and to try to put that into some kind of format, it's just very difficult.
One thing you could do is
Will
know
was
that
going thou or thy.
That would
Um,
even be
How's
easier.
thou? How is thou?
maybe one thing you could do is, maybe it won't be in the same way they have done it, because I don't know what they have done. But when you refer to they, and you're trying to put it into your context, you might look out and say, well, there's lots of theys, and theys meaning all that is around you is a they, everything is a they. And you might look at it in a broader span, as in nature, sunset, sunrises.
See,
That's
that's not the
they.
part that's not the part that's a problem for me.
No,
I
linguistic.
end up calling her Lucy because if I say they, it's like we're talking about a group of people. And it's just easier to call her by name.
So what does she want?
Well,
They.
she doesn't
be
mind if
called
What
you
do they
use
want?
Lucy. She doesn't mind if you use Lucy, but she doesn't want you to say she or he.
Then why don't you ask her what they means to her?
I
'Cause
have, but
what
she
did you
hasn't been
say?
able to come up with any
Articulate it.
Have you also said, if, because you can't tell me, can we talk about it? Because you might be able to
I
help her.
haven't, it's really not possible because of the way I'm not there with her alone. I'm in a whole group
Oh.
of people, and
Mhm.
it would take, and she's not comfortable with being with Peter or with me or anybody other than her cousins that she's grown up with.
Also possibly it could be something like, it would be so wonderful if I could understand that. And maybe if and when you're ready to know it or tell it or something, I'd be more than happy to hear what you have to say. I'm just very curious, that's all. Love you. You could just make it very light, and, that would be wonderful to find out about what that means.
Oh,
I
I would love it.
I know.
I think that I can find out more by talking to Abby, who's not a they, but gets along beautifully with Lucy.
Well,
Because
maybe
I think Abby can tell me from her point of view how she experienced that.
that would be wonderful to do that.
And Abby doesn't have any problem communicating about anything.
And that might help. What's the other girl's name? Lucy?
Lucy.
That might assist Lucy into opening up a little bit too. Who knows? It'd just be nice to just, be able to understand that, and without, just because it's there.
Well, and you were saying earlier that she might be doing it to fit in, because
Well,
that's
I
the
know
status
she
quo.
is.
Yeah, that's
And it
programming.
makes it
status quo.
easier for us
And
because
she
we
doesn't
don't-
understand it herself, maybe.
Yeah, I actually think that that's it. That she on some level must feel that she's more than one something inside of her. And so they fits it better than anything else right now. But I don't know that it's really satisfying to her either.
Well,
You know,
I can imagine being young like that and seeing toxic toxic masculinity and hate, really finding that abhorrent, and then seeing the subservient woman, that could be very um disconcerting too. So it's like, geez, I don't want to be either one of those. Old people are like really into that, and I don't want to be anything like that. So what's the alternative? And maybe they don't see that, you know, that
Well,
there's another choice.
well,
you
she's
know what
really,
she's,
she's really fortunate because she has a stepfather who's a wonderful balance. Like he reminds me a lot of Peter. And then she has a mother who very much has learned to say they and accepts her as a
Mhm.
they, but has taught her some of these things so that she can communicate when people come. But Lucy will have to find out for herself
Yeah.
how to be in the family group.
Mhm.
now something that came in, I want to share with you, Arlene, is that her specific, for her specifics aren't necessarily about masculine, feminine. Lucy, they is, I'm cat, I'm Rose, a flower, Rose. I'm, she's got all these things that are her. She is all of that, okay? And then I'm girl. I don't even think she's even explored the other stuff. So she's brought in, she was born this way. This wasn't something well, I'm going to do this. She is cat, she is Rose. That's all I had got so far. But there's a whole lot of stuff in there, Arlene. I don't even understand what I just said, but I know that she is a lot more than just a masculine, feminine. She's even cosmic, and she can't explain that. So something has happened to these kids, and it's a good thing, it's a beautiful thing, it's a wonderful thing. Does it fit into our society right now? Hell no. They would be, if she said, well, I'm Rose, I'm Cat, they're not going to be accepted. So she's very careful about who she's with, and she's going to play the role that she has to play so she doesn't get hurt. But I never thought in my wildest dreams that this was more than just masculine, feminine. It's way more than that. They're a part of nature. Nature has come into them in ways that we have no clue. So it's just a blessing, but not with somebody like what we have. Anyway, they have to protect themselves.
Well, I'm thinking, because I still think there's an advanced course of this that we don't actually totally understand yet. But I think one of the things in this course is to explore, what does wholeness mean? What is taking it even maybe beyond the Tao, but what does that kind of wholeness mean in the world that we're moving into now? Because
And
I think we're doing this at a different frequency than going way back to where the wholeness was there. This is different. This wholeness is different.
it's blessed is what it is. It's just blessed. I think we have to state, this is the wholeness, and we're pretty much just have to talk about masculine and feminine, but that being a part of what these children are going through. Can you imagine the fear? Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that they know that this is who they are, and it doesn't line up to any textbook here.
Yeah.
I get that. I mean, I've had such problems with the way people use words. It's just, I'm like, what is that? But I get it. Okay. Now,
Well, yesterday I met this woman. I've seen her before and we chatted a little bit, but we really had some time together. And she, when we get in our big drum group, she will sing, and we all just kind of are in it with her. And she sings sound. She doesn't sing words. She just sings like sound. And she sings and sings and sings and sings. And at some point she stops. and it just permeates through our bodies. And it's just so beautiful. It's like what you would think a prayer would be like, I don't know, in the universe. And later I talked to her and she talked about she's one of the ones that had extraordinary powers when she was little, like you, Marion. And she also talked about her galactic connections and her past life connections and things like that, and tribal and indigenous, and I mean all kinds of stuff. She's just like, wow. No wonder. And she's she it, she has a lot of joy in that, in her coming to the fair, and she would circle around and circle around us throughout the fair during the time she was there. She was a helper, she wasn't a practitioner, so. But golly, I just had to think of, I maybe we're all coming into more realizations of the connections we've had, both cosmically and in past lives, and that what our true calling, our true nature, our true need to be part of this evolution has been, you know. So I just, yeah, talk about mind expanding. What? It was great. It's great to talk.
I'm really thinking about the next time there's a Rosani fair about signing up if they have an extra place to, and just come in and work with luminaries. And
Mhm.
I'm just seeing that great big picture I have of integrity sitting behind me. Because
Yeah.
we have a sign for transformational tools that is with Stacy, but doesn't feel like the right energy for what I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I have even three sessions set up for in the future, right, in a few weeks. I mean,
That's
that
great.
was how it happened. They
That's
wanted
so
more
great.
sessions,
Yeah.
so they were definitely ready. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
people came
Yeah.
that were ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my friends, we've done some good work today, I think. And this is why it's set aside for us to spend time with this, because it's going to take time for us to
Yeah.
sift through all the things that are coming up
Mhm.
and get to the place where we all say, wow, yes, this is where it needs to be now.
Yeah. Yeah. I sense that we will get there.
Yes. And thank you for taking the time to do this work. I think this is a growing edge for all of us here, but
Mhm.
it's also so important that we stay with where the energies are now.
Yeah.
All right, so I will be sending you things and I'll
Okay.
try to do it all in one email so you got everything in one place.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Sounds good.
Love you.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye. Am I too abruptly ending?
I'm not sure where I'm here right now,
We're
okay?
kind of out here, I think.
All right. Stay
Remember to
grounded.
ground. Remember to
Okay,
ground.
okay. Got it, got it.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Mm.